Welcome back, fellow gamers. I was asked for an anti-deck tech for Selvala Heart of the Wilds. As always, if you have a commander that you'd like for me to cover in an anti-deck tech video, let me know in the comments or reach out to me on Twitter and I'll add it to the list. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe so that you know when I upload the next anti-deck tech video. Alright, let's jump right in. I'm really excited about this. This version of Selvala has two strong abilities. When another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. Now, before we go any deeper, let's talk about that. In order for Selvala to really take advantage of this ability, they need to play a bigger creature every time in order to get that card draw. So playing elves isn't going to really work out all that great. Thankfully, for the Selvala player, they can tap into the vast array of creatures that have X in their mana costs, so that Selvala can continue drawing cards. A shutdown card for this strategy here is Torpor Orb. Causing abilities not to trigger is a good way of denying their card draw. Combined with Cursed Totem, Linvala, Keeper of Silence, or Phyrexian Revoker will shut her down on both fronts. Another way would be Humility. Since everything is a 1-1 with no abilities, you've got yourself an even board state, but unless I'm playing a token deck, I wouldn't really slot in Humility unless you have ways of buffing your 1-1s. Alright, on to the next ability. Paying 1 green for X mana equal to the greatest power among creatures that Selvala player controls is powerful, especially with all those Hydras. It gets even deadlier when a player plays Umbral Mantle, Paradox Engine, Sword of the Prunes, Wireward Lodge, Bear Umbra, and so on. This will generate infinite amount of mana at the right situation, and in this case, the right situation isn't all that hard to achieve. Now, before diving any deeper, I'll get this out of the way. Artifact removal will be helpful, as will creature removal for Selvala. If you can get this back into the commander zone, casting Selvala might prove prohibitive if you continue to do it, but if they have access to the aforementioned artifacts, it still might be an uphill battle for you, so get rid of those problematic artifacts. Will be going and helping yourself along the way, and you can maybe even lock the Selvala player down. I don't think discard is a viable way of beating down Selvala, as she can go off quite easy, and you might not get the chance to really hit the player with meaningful discard effects. That is, unless you are able to somehow hit them with cards that can discard their whole hand, like Myojin of the Night's Reach, Nicol Bolas. But the trick is really timing, because if a player sees this, they simply won't draw the cards. A surprise card like Wheel and Deal might effectively shut them out or surprise them, and discarding a dozen cards and getting only 7 is a pretty good way. But I'd rather punish the player for drawing. So Phyrexian Tyranny, Toil and Trouble, Iron Maiden, Fate Unraveler, Karakek Parasite, Nekuzar the Mindrazor, and Underworld Dreams are really good. They won't kill the player, but they'll make them weary about drawing those extra cards in fear of you then swinging for lethal. With that said, though, I do like the sneakiness of Notion Thief, and I always smile when playing against the Niv Mizzet player. It's always fun. If you somehow manage to go late game without resolution, Mind Grind might actually win you the game, especially since green is so effective at pulling out lands from the library. The problematic thing, though, about recommending mill is, again, Selvala can go off pretty quick, and milling generally takes longer, and I think that her route to victory will be quicker. I play against Selvala like people play against my Yisan the Wanderer Bard deck. I target Selvala aggressively with removal spells as soon as she hits the board, so that I can stall her until I get into position to knock her out. Combined with some of the aforementioned cards, you can go on playing your game, putting Selvala on the defensive. Make it extra hard for her to recoup with cards like Rule of Law, Arcane Laboratory, Brand of Ill, Omen, or Curse of Exhaustion. Angelic Arbiter is a good card to get onto the battlefield as early as possible so that your opponent doesn't combo out and one-shot you. Now that I've mentioned these few stack pieces, I think it's safe to say that stack is a good way to go. I covered commander stacks in my Commander Stack Primer. I'll have that right at the top, or the link will be in the description below if you'd like to check it out. As you can imagine, stacks, again, is a good way of dealing with her. The final piece of advice would be to play tutors where possible so that you can fetch an answer early in the game and avoid a quick end to the matchup. So there you have it. Those are, pretty straightforward ways of dealing with Selvala. The trick is timing. Disrupt her board state early and often. The Selvala player will be fighting tooth and nail to get out of their commander zone. Without her, the deck will be slow as it leads on her for card advantage and mana generation. It comes down to that. It's very simple, but it's hard to do because she can be so quick with early leads. It's similar to a Yisan deck. If you've played against a Yisan deck, stick with that strategy. Stick with the cards that work against Yisan. I'd even say Yisan's probably a stronger commander to play against, but definitely Selvala in her own right because she generates card advantage, but she also provides a lot of extra mana. She's equally as deadly. So, with that said, if you've played against a Selvala player and you've successfully beaten her, what were the cards that really stood out? What cards did I not cover? Let me know in the description below. Or not in the description. You're not allowed to write in the description. Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out some of my other videos right over here. If you'd like to subscribe, again, you can do that right here. It's greatly appreciated. It helps the channel, but it lets you know when we upload new content just like this. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day, and until next time, good gaming.